Women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie. Welcome back to our series on income shifting by the numbers. I'm your host, H Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite followpreneur. Man, comment below if you're learning something, people. The game is a lot of times what they say to be sold and not told. Well, I'm sorry for everybody who feel that way, but I believe that we just need to start telling the game in our community, man, so people can get themselves together. So we're on to part number 3. You guys learn how you are losing money to taxes in part 1. You learn how to get that money back and put it to work for you in part 3 in terms of debt elimination. Well, what happens when you have no debt? All your bills are paid and you still got an extra $2,000 or $3,000 left at the end of the month. Now it's time for you to start building a legacy, but you got to know how to do it. So in this part, my man Lawrence Haley, the financial fitness coach, is going to show you what we teach people in terms of investments and how you can get that money to grow for you so that when the time comes when you don't want to work, you're no longer able to work, or you're no longer wanted by an employer to work, you still have a significant cash flow coming in. So I'm going to let my man Larry take it away.
And put that towards the credit card, then roll that to the next credit card, to the car, and so on and so forth. So now we paid off $153,000 in 8 years simply by using strategy. And again, we have not made a dime in the business. So obviously if we did, we could actually do this even faster. So just to show you the power of the strategies that we teach. And again, this is not rocket science. We didn't make this up. We just put everything together so that it can work for us, so that we can put our money to work for us, so that we can stop leaving money on the table. So now this person debt-free in 2027, and when they become debt-free, their cash flow now is $23,000 a year, almost 24. What could you do with $24,000 a year? You could probably buy a car cash, right? You can probably save that for a couple of years and buy a house cash. So we got to understand it's not how much we make, it's how much we keep. It's how much cash flow we have. Income is not as important as cash flow. And this is what we're helping people do, is recover cash flow. In fact, in my econ, our associates since 2005 have recovered over $450 million, and another $100 million is projected to be recovered this year. Will be over $500 million in cash flow recovery, using these strategies, using what I'm showing you right now. And this is how we've helped our associates recover that kind of money. So again, in 8 years, this person is going to have additional almost $24,000 that they don't have anything to do with it, right? Because they're debt free. Well, now we want to start investing that money, right? We freed up the money. We've got our cash flow back. We got all the money we need to invest, to build wealth. We're just losing it, and now it's time to start recovering it so that we can invest. So again, let's come over here to invest. So we got an extra $1,997.58 that we can invest, that we recovered from tax savings, from correcting our W-4, and from getting debt free. That's money that we were getting other people rich with. Now it's time for us to get rich for ourselves. So I'm going to invest $1,500 of that. And we'll keep, extra almost $500 in our pocket. So we give ourselves a $500 raise monthly, $6,000 a year that's coming back into our pocket. And now we can do whatever we want to do with that. We can use that money to go put it into an emergency fund. We can use it to plan for vacations or whatever we want to do. But, you definitely should be thinking about establishing an emergency fund as well. But for the sake of this example, we're investing $1,500. We're going to invest it for 12 years. And the reason why I want to invest it for 12 years, because it took us 8 years to get debt free. So we want to make the whole process 20 years. So this is showing what this person can do in the next 20 years. And if I can get it down any closer, I will. So at $1,500, we're going to invest this money. Now, I want to start off with a conservative rate. The reason why I want to start off with a conservative rate is because most 401ks are invested conservatively. And that's rates between 2 to 4%. I've seen people with 2%, I've seen people with 3%, seen people with 4%. But most 401ks are invested at a conservative rate. And what you got to understand is the lower your rate is, the slower your money grows. And what we teach in my econ is we learn how to go get what we call wholesale rates, which are double-digit rates of return. These are the rates that the banks invest their money at, the top investors invest their money at, the corporations invest their money at. We want to get to that point, but we're going to show you just so you can see the power of the interest rate that you get to invest your money on. So we're going to start off with 4%. So at 4%, in 12 years, we're going to invest $18,000 a year. That's $1,500 a month. And so at 4% in 12 years, you're talking about $281,000 that our investment grows to. Now, you might be thinking that's not bad, but you got to understand when you retire, you got to live off that money until it's gone. What we learned in my econ is that we need to live off the income from the investment, not the investment. And so you see on the right side, you see $11,000. That's how much the $281 will make us every year at 4%. We can't live off of that, right? Today we make $50,000. In 20 years, we're going to need to make close to $100,000 just to have the same lifestyle because of the cost of inflation, which doubles every 20 years. So we're far away from the income we need, and like I said, we don't want to live off that money until it's gone. We want to have build up an investment so we can leave that investment to our family when we pass on, and we can live off the income from the investment while we're alive. So 4% is not going to get it. So let's try a better rate. Let's go with 8%. Let's see what that does. So 8%, we're still not getting it, right? We're still not there. So 368,000 again. You know, looking at that, because many times we've never seen that kind of money, we look at that and say, wow, that's great. But you got to understand, if you retire at 65 and you happen to live for another 30 years, you're not going to live off of that money for 30 years. You know, if you try to live off of that for 30 years, you're talking about, about $3,000 or $30,000 a year, you know, for the next 30 years. Actually, I take that back, $10,000 a year for the next 30 years. That's not going to work. So we gotta get a better rate. And so again, we teach you how to go out and get the rates of return that you need. And now you got to be realistic. In some cases, we may need to invest more. We may need to invest longer. But let's keep going. So I'm going to invest now at 12%. All right, 12%, we're getting somewhere. At 12%, we got $486,000 in our investment account that's paying us almost $60,000 a year. So we're debt free in 8 years, and in the next 12 years, in a total of 20 years, we became debt free, paid off over $150,000 in debt, and built up almost a $500,000 investment account in a total of 20 years. Now, many of us have been working 30 and 40 years, and we have nowhere near $486,000 in our retirement account. This is why it's critical, because we've not been taught how to prepare for retirement, and that's what we want to show you in my econ. So now let me go with one more better rate. I'm going to go with 16%. Now, I told you your income needs to double in 20 years, right? We're making $50,000 today, and your income should double in the 20 years. Well, now our investment account at 16% is going to build up an investment account of $644,000 that pays us $103,000 a year. That's money that we don't have to get up and go to work for. That's what you call your money's working for you. So we were able to do what we needed to do in 20 years. We got debt free, and we didn't make a dime in the business. And here's another part that gets better. See, the $18,000 that we're investing, that $1,500 a month, that $18,000 a year that we're investing, is also a tax deduction. See, I wanted to show you first what we can do without writing that off, just to show you what that 16% rate can do. So in 20 years, we've achieved our goal. Our investment is paying us $103,000 a year. But we actually should be investing more, because we can write that $18,000 off and increase our actual tax return. So let's come back and write that off. So $18,000, when we write that off, that's an extra $4,500 that the government is going to give us back, because we're investing in a retirement account as a business owner. As a business owner, we're investing in a retirement account, and so that those contributions become tax deductible. And now when we get to that point, our tax return is almost $10,000, right? That's more money we can now start investing. So now we got $2,300 we can invest. So I'm going to invest $1,750. Oops. 12. 1750. Now look at our investment. $751,000 in our investment account that's paying us $120,000 a year. And we did this all in a matter of 20 years. So, and again, we don't necessarily need $120,000. And another part you got to understand is, again, that income from the investment is not taxed the same way it is as an employee. Here's what you got to understand. As an investor, when you make capital gains, which is what your money making money for you, you get taxed at about 10 to 15%, where I told you before, the employees are getting taxed about a third. So that difference alone, let me give you an example. If you made $100,000 as an employee, you're going to come home with about $66,000. If you make $100,000 as an investor, you're going to come home with about $85,000. So that should tell you where we should be making our money at. So we really didn't need $100,000 to come home with the same lifestyle we would as an employee. We could have probably, made $80,000 and still come home with that same $66,000 as an employee making $100,000. So we really don't need all of that money, right? We don't need the whole $120,000. We can leave some of that in there and let it continue to reinvest itself. So again, that structure, that is the strategies that we teach, but there's still a few other things that I did not touch on, right? And we still didn't make any money in the business. So right now, I would think that by seeing what you've seen so far, you could easily agree that this is something that we all should be doing. So as a member, now understanding that if you start going out helping other people, you can actually start making money. You can make great money. But I'm going to use an example of just making a little bit of money. What if we just made an extra $500 a month?
Man, y'all thought I was excited after part 2. Come on now. Building generational wealth from scratch using your job income. It doesn't get any better than this, man. Just imagine, I'm 44, I'll be 45 years old. What would my life be like if I learned this when I was 20? Come on, guys. It's amazing what you can do when you have the proper knowledge. And that's what this thing is all about. Now, obviously, you can get some of this stuff done on your own. You can figure it out. You can go do your own research. You may already have a business. Great. But at the end of the day, we just wanted you to know the power of our income shifting membership and income shifting in general, whether you do it with us or you do it somewhere else. Just get it done, man, so you can start building some generational wealth for you and your family. So in part 4, we're going to talk about the last couple components. What if you added some gasoline to the fire and you started making some referral income, because that is a component of our income shifting membership. You can refer people and make up to $50 per referral. Yeah. What happens if you start using that in your wealth building game plan? Go over to part 4 and check that out.